You know that moment when your entire world collapses in the span of about 30 seconds? When everything you've worked for, everything you've sacrificed for, everything you've believed in just evaporates into thin air? When the ground beneath your feet disappears, and you're left falling into a void with no idea how to catch yourself? When every memory you've ever made becomes tainted by the realization that it was all built on a foundation of lies? That was me at 8:47 p.m. on a Saturday night, standing in my own bedroom, staring at my husband's phone. He'd left it on the nightstand by accident. It was a simple mistake, the kind anyone could make. But that simple mistake would unravel everything I thought I knew about my life, my marriage, and the woman I had trusted most in the world. The room was dim, lit only by the faint glow of the street lamp outside. Marcus was downstairs watching the game, his laughter drifting up through the floorboards. I had come upstairs to grab my reading glasses, a mundane errand in a mundane evening. I never imagined I wouldn't come back down the same person. My name is Felicity. I am 43 years old. I have been married to my husband Marcus for 20 years. We have 2 children together, a daughter named Isabella, who is 19, and a son named Samuel, who is 16. We have a beautiful home in an exclusive gated community, the kind with manicured lawns and neighbors who wave when they drive by. We have a golden retriever named Max who thinks he's a lapdog. We have a vacation home on the beach and a ski condo in the mountains. We are that family, the one with the perfect lawn, the perfect holidays, the perfect social media posts that make everyone else feel inadequate. I had curated that image, meticulously, not out of vanity, but because I believed in it. I believed that if you built a beautiful life, it would protect you. I was wrong. Nothing protects you from betrayal. I am a successful attorney. I have built my career from the ground up, one case at a time. I have always believed in honesty, in integrity, in doing what is right. I believed my marriage was one of those things, right? True. Built to last. Marcus is a successful entrepreneur, the kind of man who commands attention when he walks into a room. He is tall, handsome, and has a smile that could charm anyone. He is also ambitious, driven, and has a way of making you feel like you are the most important person in the world when he is talking to you. He is the kind of man other women wish their husbands were like. He is the kind of father every child deserves. I met him when I was 23, fresh out of law school and working my first real job at a small firm. He was 29, already on his way to the top. He swept me off my feet from the very first moment. He was everything I had ever wanted in a man. He was charming, confident, intelligent, and he made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. We dated for 2 years before he proposed. It was a fairy tale proposal, the kind you see in movies. He took me to a beautiful restaurant overlooking the city, got down on one knee, and told me he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me. I said yes, of course. I was madly in love with him. I could not imagine my life without him. He was my everything. Our wedding was beautiful. A lavish affair with hundreds of guests, a 5-tier cake, and a live band. I wore a designer dress that made me feel like a princess, and I walked down the aisle on my father's arm. When I saw Marcus waiting for me at the altar, I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. I thought I had it all. I thought I was living the dream. But dreams have a way of turning into nightmares. That phone in my hand had a text message from my cousin. My cousin Miranda, the woman I had grown up with, the woman I had trusted with my children, the woman I had considered my sister. We had been inseparable as children, sharing secrets under blanket forts, passing notes in class, dreaming of the day we'd be each other's maids of honor. She had been there for every milestone: my graduation, my engagement party, the births of my children. She was family. I had never once questioned her loyalty. The message was simple, but it was devastating. I can't wait to see you tonight. I miss you. I love you. Please delete this message before she sees it. Love you more than anything, Em. I stood there, frozen, staring at the message on the phone. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My mind was racing, trying to process what I was reading. My cousin, my husband, the 2 people I trusted most in the world. They had been having an affair, behind my back, while I was building our life together, while I was raising our children, while I was working to provide for our family. The words "before she sees it" echoed in my skull. She? Me? I was the she they were hiding from. I was the obstacle. I was the outsider in my own marriage. I scrolled up. There were more messages. Hundreds of them, going back months, years. They were filled with declarations of love, with promises, with plans. They had been together for years. They had been lying to me for years. They had been betraying me for years. I saw photographs of them on vacations I hadn't known about. Intimate selfies in hotel rooms. Long threads planning a future where I no longer existed. They talked about how much happier they'd be once this is all over. How they couldn't wait to finally be free. Every word was a dagger, and I read them all, standing there in my bedroom. The sound of my husband's laughter still drifting up from downstairs. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't think. All I could do was stare at those words, at the proof of a betrayal that was so deep, so complete, so devastating that I couldn't even begin to process it. I sat down on the bed, the phone still clutched in my hand. I felt like I was going to be sick. My whole world was crumbling around me. Everything I thought I knew about my cousin, about my husband, about my life was a lie. The bedspread was the one we'd picked out together on our 10th anniversary trip to Italy. I remember the way Marcus had held my hand as we wandered through the market. The way he'd said that this bedspread would be a symbol of our enduring love. Now I wanted to tear it off the bed and burn it. I started to think back, to remember, to piece together the puzzle. The way Miranda always seemed to be around. She'd drop by unannounced with a bottle of wine, insisting she just needed some family time. The way she always found excuses to be near Marcus, touching his arm, laughing at his jokes a little too loudly, finding reasons to sit next to him at dinner. The way she looked at him when she thought I wasn't watching. A hungry, possessive gaze I had dismissed as admiration. The way she touched him. The way she laughed at his jokes. The way she made him smile. The way she always seemed to know where he was, texting me casually to ask if Marcus was home yet. Claiming she needed to ask him a business question. All those little red flags I had rationalized away. She was just a close cousin. She was just lonely. She was just being friendly. I had been blind. I had been naive. I had been trusting. I had been stupid. I started going through the rest of the phone. There were emails, photos, videos, evidence of a relationship that had been going on for years, evidence of a betrayal that was so complete, so devastating, that I couldn't even begin to process it. I found a video of the two of them dancing in a kitchen I didn't recognize, his arms wrapped around her waist, her head thrown back in laughter. I found an email where she referred to him as the love of my life. I found a saved draft of a message he'd written but never sent, telling her that he was counting the days until he could leave me. But that wasn't all. I also found evidence that Miranda had been stealing from my children. She had been siphoning money from their trust fund. She had been forging my signature. She had been building a secret life with my husband, funded by my children's money. I found bank statements, wire transfers, documents with my name signed in a hand that was almost, but not quite, my own. The trust fund my father had set up for Isabella and Samuel before he died, the money meant for their education, their futures was being drained, dollar by dollar, by the woman who was supposed to love them like a second mother. I felt like I had been punched in the gut again. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't think. All I could do was stare at those words. At the proof of a betrayal that was so deep, so complete, so devastating that I couldn't even begin to process it. She hadn't just stolen my husband. She'd stolen my children's security. She'd stolen their future. And she'd done it with a smile. At every family barbecue, every birthday party, every Christmas morning. I found out that Miranda had been planning to take everything from me. She had been planning to marry Marcus herself. She had been planning to take my money, my children, my life. She had been planning to destroy me. There was a detailed timeline in her notes app. Step 1, get Marcus to leave her. Step 2, secure the house and assets. Step 3. Gain custody of the kids by painting her as unstable. The cold, clinical precision of it made my blood run cold. She had been studying me for years, cataloging my weaknesses, preparing to dismantle my life piece by piece. I also found out that Marcus had been planning to leave me. He had been planning to break up our marriage, to marry Miranda, to start a new life with her. He had been waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity. He had been lying to me every single day, kissing me goodbye in the morning, telling me he loved me at night, all while counting down the days until he could walk out the door. I was devastated. I was angry. I was humiliated. I was destroyed. But I was also determined. The shock was starting to fade, replaced by a cold, steely resolve. I was an attorney. I had built my career on finding the truth, on building cases, on winning. And I was going to win this. I was going to bring them both down. I didn't confront them right away. I needed time to process. I needed to figure out what to do. I needed to understand the full scope of what had happened. I was an attorney. I knew how to investigate. I knew how to find the truth. And I was going to find every single detail of their betrayal. That night, I did the hardest thing I've ever done. I walked back downstairs, handed Marcus his phone, and said I was too tired to watch the rest of the game. I kissed him on the cheek, went to bed, and lay awake until dawn, planning. I started doing some digging. I hired a private investigator. I gave him the names of my cousin and my husband. I told him to dig deep. I told him to find everything. I told him I wanted to know every detail of their deception. His name was Sullivan, a former FBI agent with a quiet, methodical manner. He promised me discretion and results. What he found made my blood run cold. The affair had been going on for 6 years. 6 years of lies, of betrayal, of deception. 6 years of them hiding their relationship from me. 6 years of them pretending to be loyal while they were secretly plotting against me. It had started at our 14th anniversary party. Of all places Miranda had come to help set up. And apparently, she'd stayed after I went to bed. The thought made me physically ill. But that wasn't all. I also found out that Miranda had been using my identity to commit fraud. She had been using my personal information to open credit cards, to take out loans, to buy properties. She had been building a secret life for herself, funded by my money. She had been stealing from me while pretending to be my cousin. Sullivan found a condo she'd purchased in her name, but with my credit. He found a car loan with my signature on the paperwork. The depth of her criminality was staggering. I also found out that Marcus had been helping her. He had been giving her access to my accounts, my information, my life. He had been complicit in her scheme. He had been helping her destroy me. He had provided her with copies of my tax returns, my social security number, everything she needed to steal my identity. My husband, the man who had vowed to love and protect me, had handed over the keys to my destruction. I was devastated. I was angry. I was humiliated. I was destroyed. But I was also determined. I gathered all the evidence I had. The phone messages, the emails, the photos, the videos, the financial records, the property records, the trust fund documents, the proof of their affair, the proof of their betrayal, the proof of their theft, the proof of their plans. I had everything I needed to destroy them. But I didn't want to just destroy them. I wanted to make sure they could never hurt anyone ever again. I wanted to make sure they would never have the chance to do to anyone else what they had done to me. This was bigger than revenge. This was justice. So I started planning my revenge. I contacted my lawyer. I told him everything. I showed him the evidence. I told him what I wanted. His name was Harold, a senior partner at one of the most ruthless family law firms in the city. When he saw the binder I'd prepared, he let out a low whistle. "Felicity," he said, "this is the most comprehensive case file I've ever seen a client bring me. You've done my job for me." "Mrs. Davis," he said, "you have a very strong case. Your cousin has committed fraud, identity theft, and forgery. She has been stealing from you. She has been lying to you. She has been destroying your life. Your husband has been complicit in her crimes. I can help you. I can make sure they both pay for what they've done." What about my children's trust fund? What about the money? The money will be recovered. Your cousin will be held accountable. Your husband will also be held accountable. They will both face the consequences of their actions. Good, I said. That's what I want. I want both of them to pay. I want both of them to face the consequences of their actions. I also contacted the police. I gave them the evidence. I told them everything I knew about Miranda's crimes. I told them about the identity theft, the fraud, the stolen money, the secret accounts. Detective Ramirez, a sharp-eyed woman with no tolerance for nonsense, assured me they would move quickly. She was arrested a few weeks later. They took her from her apartment in the early morning, before she could slip away. She was charged with multiple felonies. She was facing serious time. She was facing the destruction of her reputation. She was facing the destruction of her life. Marcus was also arrested. He was charged with fraud and conspiracy. He was taken from his office, in front of his colleagues and clients. I wasn't there to see it, but I heard about it. I heard he cried. He was facing serious time. He was facing the destruction of his reputation. He was facing the destruction of his life. When Marcus found out, he was devastated. He had been completely taken in by her. He had trusted her, loved her, defended her, and she had been destroying his wife the whole time. He called me from jail, his voice trembling. "Felicity, please, I'm so sorry. I was an idiot. She manipulated me. She used me," he said, his voice breaking. "She used me for my money, my connections, my access. She never loved me. She never cared about me at all. She just wanted to destroy you. She just wanted to take everything you had." "I know," I said, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of sympathy for him. "She used you, just like she used all the others. I'm so sorry, Felicity. I'm so sorry for everything. I should have listened to you. I should have believed you. I should have protected you. It's too late for that," I said. "You made your choice. Now you have to live with it." The trial was brutal. Miranda sat in the courtroom, her face pale, her hands shaking. She tried to defend herself. She tried to spin the story. She claimed she was a victim too. She claimed Marcus had manipulated her. She claimed she had been coerced. She claimed she had been in love. But the evidence was overwhelming. The phone messages, the emails, the photos, the videos, the financial records, the property records, the trust fund documents. It was all there. Everything she had done. Everything she had planned. Everything she had tried to hide. I testified for 2 days, walking the jury through every lie, every theft, every betrayal. By the end, I saw the faces of the jurors harden into something resolute. The jury found her guilty on all counts. Fraud, identity theft, forgery, embezzlement. She was facing a long prison sentence. She was facing the destruction of her reputation. She was facing the destruction of her life. When the verdict was read, she looked at me with hatred in her eyes. "You'll regret this," she said. "You'll regret destroying my life. You'll regret everything. I'll get out. I'll come after you. I'll make you pay. I'll make you suffer." I looked back at her, my face calm, my voice steady. "I'm not destroying your life. You destroyed your own life. You made choices. You made mistakes. And now you have to live with them." She was led away in handcuffs. I watched her go, and I felt nothing. No pity, no satisfaction, just relief. It was finally over. She could never hurt me again. Marcus was also convicted. He was sentenced to community service and forced to pay restitution. He also had to forfeit his share of our assets. He had to start over from nothing. His reputation was destroyed. His career was ruined. His life was over. After the trial, I started the long process of rebuilding my life. My money was recovered. My children's trust fund was restored. My name was cleared. My reputation was restored. I went back to work, and I was welcomed with open arms. My clients had believed in me. My friends had supported me. My family had stood by me. But I was changed. The experience had changed me. I was more cautious, more guarded, more protective of my boundaries. I didn't trust as easily as I used to. I didn't give my heart away as freely. I started going to therapy. I needed to process everything. I needed to work through the trauma. I needed to learn how to trust again. My therapist, Dr. Langston, helped me untangle the mess of grief, rage, and self-blame that had consumed me for so long. Felicity, my therapist said one day, you've been through a terrible ordeal. You've been betrayed by someone you trusted. You've been through a trauma that would break most people. But you're still standing. You're still fighting. And that takes incredible strength. Thank you, I said. I don't feel strong. I feel broken. I feel like I'll never be whole again. You will be whole again, she said. It will take time. It will take patience. But you will heal. You will find your way back to yourself. I also started spending more time with my children. They needed me. They had been through so much. They had lost their father to his betrayal. They had lost their cousin to her greed. They needed to know that they were loved, that they were safe, that they were enough. Isabella had taken it especially hard. Miranda had been her favorite relative, the one she called when she fought with me, the one who always seemed to understand. Now she had to reconcile the loving cousin she knew with the monster who had tried to destroy her family. We held each other through a lot of tears. We started going on vacations. We started having family dinners. We started talking about our feelings. We started healing together. We took a trip to the mountains, just the three of us, and spent a week hiking, cooking together, and relearning how to be a family without Marcus. It was the first time I felt something like peace. It was a long process. There were many dark days. There were many moments when I wanted to give up. But I didn't. I couldn't. I had come too far. I had fought too hard. I had survived too much. I realized that the best revenge was not in destroying them. The best revenge was in thriving, in building a better life, in becoming the best version of myself, in showing them that they could not destroy me, in showing them that I was stronger than they ever imagined. I also started to speak out. I told my story to anyone who would listen. I wrote articles. I gave interviews. I shared my experience with others. I wanted to help other women who had been through similar situations. I wanted to show them that they could survive. They could thrive. They could rebuild. I created a support group for women who had been betrayed by family members. It started small, just a few women in a church basement. But it grew, and grew, and grew. Soon there were dozens of us, then hundreds, then thousands. We shared our stories. We supported each other. We helped each other heal. I met women who had been betrayed by sisters, by mothers, by brothers. We were a sisterhood of survivors, and we lifted each other up. I also started to focus on my career. I was promoted to senior partner at my firm. I was recognized for my leadership, my integrity, my vision. I was making a difference. I was building something meaningful. I started taking on more pro bono cases, helping women in difficult divorces. I used my experience to give others the fighting chance I had given myself. And I was happy, truly happy, for the first time in a long time. I also met someone new, a kind, gentle man named Thomas. He was everything Marcus was not. He was honest. He was loyal. He was loving. He made me feel safe. He made me feel valued. He made me feel loved. We met at a charity event, and his quiet sincerity was a balm after the years of Marcus's polished charm. We started dating slowly. I was scared. I was nervous. I was afraid of being hurt again. But Thomas was patient. He didn't push. He didn't pressure. He just showed up and proved himself, day after day. And eventually, I trusted him. I let my guard down. I opened my heart again. We got married 2 years later. It was a small ceremony, just family and close friends. I wore a simple white dress, and I walked down the aisle with my head held high. Isabella was my maid of honor, and Samuel walked me down the aisle, stepping in for the father who had forfeited that right. When I saw Thomas waiting for me at the altar, I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. And I had found my happiness again. I had rebuilt my life. I had found peace. It's been 5 years since everything happened. 5 years since I discovered the betrayal. 5 years since I destroyed the people who had hurt me. 5 years since I started to rebuild my life. I am happy. I am at peace. I have everything I ever wanted. A loving husband, beautiful children, a successful career, a life filled with joy. The house feels different now, lighter, more genuine. Max still thinks he's a lapdog, and I let him. Some things never change, and I'm grateful for that. Miranda is still in prison. She is serving a long sentence. She has been abandoned by everyone she loved. Her family has disowned her. Her friends have deserted her. She is alone, forgotten, lost. Marcus is still struggling. He lost everything. His reputation, his career, his family. His life. He is a shell of the man he used to be. He lives alone in a small apartment. He works a dead-end job. He has no friends, no family, no one who cares about him. I see him occasionally, from a distance, and I feel a distant pity. But I don't engage. Some bridges are meant to be burned. I don't think about them much. They are not worth my time. They are not worth my energy. They are not worth my thoughts. I have forgiven them, in my own way. Not because they deserve it. Not because I have forgotten what they did, but because I can't carry that anger around forever. It was too heavy. It was destroying me. I had to let it go. I have learned a valuable lesson. Trust is fragile. Once it is broken, it is almost impossible to rebuild. And sometimes, the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. Sometimes, the people you love the most are the ones who betray you the deepest. Loved this story? Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a video. I upload brand new stories every single day. Gripping, emotional, and packed with twists that'll keep you guessing until the very end. Don't forget to like this video if it gave you all the feels. Comment below. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? How did you handle it? I read every single comment. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the best lessons come from other people's experiences. Got a story idea? Drop it in the comments. Your suggestion might just become the next video on this channel. Subscribe now and join our growing family of story lovers. New videos drop daily at 7 a.m. EST. Perfect to watch with your morning coffee. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, and never let anyone make you feel like you're not enough. Because you are. You always have been, and you always will be.